The disturbing plans of Fallout organizations for humanity. Explained. A ruined vault door tells you someone had a plan. So does a sealed military bunker, a corporate terminal, a Brotherhood codex, a Legion camp, an Institute relay, a RobCo casino tower, and an oil rig hidden far out in the Pacific. Fallout's wasteland may look like chaos from the surface, but underneath the dust and radiation, it is full of blueprints. Some were written before the bombs, some were written after. And almost all of them begin with the same disturbing assumption: ordinary people cannot be trusted with humanity's future. That is where Fallout's organizations become more frightening than most of its monsters. This is about the groups that looked at the end of the world and decided they had the right to redesign what came next. And the more you study their plans, the more disturbing one thing becomes clear. In Fallout, the apocalypse did not stop people from trying to control humanity. It gave them the perfect excuse. The NCR, rebuilding the old world until the old problems return. The new California Republic is disturbing because it is not introduced as some obvious nightmare. When you first compare the NCR to Caesar's Legion, the Enclave, or the Institute, it looks like the sane option. It has elections, laws, currency, soldiers, courts, roads, farms, elected presidents, and the language of citizenship. It is a promising government, and in the wasteland, that can feel like a miracle. But Fallout, New Vegas makes the NCR uncomfortable because it shows what happens when a good idea becomes too large, too hungry, and too convinced of its own righteousness. By 2281, the NCR has pushed east from California into the Mojave. Its major prize is Hoover Dam, because the dam is not just a battlefield. It is electricity, water control, industrial power, and proof that the Republic can restore the old world's infrastructure. President Aaron Kimball and General Lee Oliver see the Mojave campaign as a symbol of NCR strength. If the NCR controls Hoover Dam, it can power cities and support expansion. But the Mojave shows the cost of that future. At the Mojave outpost, the NCR is already jammed by bureaucracy, paperwork, caravans, military delays, and blocked roads. At Camp Forlorn Hope, soldiers are undersupplied, exhausted, and slowly losing ground near Nelson. At Camp McCarran, the Republic has one of the strongest military bases in the region, but it is still dealing with fiend attacks, spies, supply problems, and internal pressure. Even when the NCR looks organized, New Vegas keeps showing you the machine grinding itself down. The NCR sharecropper farms outside New Vegas are one of the clearest examples. On paper, they are civilization returning. Fenced fields, irrigation, organized labor, and food production. The crops support NCR camps like McCarran and Forlorn Hope, but the farms also show the Republic turning land and water into a political tool. Farmers work NCR-owned land under military guard, while nearby communities like Westside struggle with access to water. That is the disturbing thing about the NCR's plan for humanity. It does not need to openly say, submit or die. It can say, join us, and you get roads, water, food, laws, money, and soldiers. That sounds peaceful until you realize how much pressure sits behind it. Independent towns are not simply left alone. They are courted, taxed, occupied, protected, and eventually absorbed. Prim shows this perfectly. After the town loses its sheriff and falls into chaos because of the powder gangers, the NCR can help stabilize it. But NCR protection does not come free. If Prim accepts NCR rule, it also accepts NCR taxes, NCR law, and NCR authority. And then there is Bitter Springs. Bitter Springs is the moment where the NCR's clean self-image breaks. The Great Khans were not innocent in the long history of conflict with the NCR. They raided, fought, and killed. But the massacre at Bitter Springs still becomes one of the darkest stains on the Republic. Bad intelligence and broken communication led NCR forces, including 1st Recon, to fire into a retreating population that included non-combatants, children, and the elderly. Afterwards, the place becomes a refugee camp, protected by the same republic whose army helped turn it into a grave. Its plan for humanity is not the most evil, but it is the most familiar. The NCR may be the best hope in the Mojave, but it is also proof that humanity can survive the apocalypse and still start rebuilding the same machine that helped cause it. The Brotherhood of Steel, saving humanity by deciding what humanity is allowed to use. The Brotherhood of Steel begins with one of the most understandable fears in Fallout. Technology ended the world. Not just nuclear weapons, but the entire pre-war machine around them. Military research, corporate contracts, artificial intelligence, robotics, biological weapons, and scientists who kept pushing forward because someone in power kept paying them to do it. The Brotherhood's origin comes directly from that horror. In 2077, Captain Roger Maxson was stationed at Mariposa Military Base, where he discovered that American scientists had been experimenting on human subjects with the forced evolutionary virus. That discovery broke his faith in the government he served. Maxson and his soldiers executed the scientists, declared themselves separate from the United States, and eventually became the foundation of the Brotherhood of Steel. So at the start, the Brotherhood's plan sounds almost reasonable: preserve dangerous technology, keep it out of reckless hands, and prevent humanity from repeating the same mistakes. The disturbing part is what happens after that fear becomes an institution. The Brotherhood does not simply study technology. It claims authority over it. Energy weapons, power armor, pre-war data, robotics, military hardware, advanced systems. If the Brotherhood decides something is dangerous, then it believes it has the right to take it, hide it, or destroy whoever uses it wrong. The mission turns from preservation into control, and once a group believes it alone can be trusted with civilization's most powerful tools, it becomes very easy for that group to treat everyone else as children, threats, or thieves. Fallout. New Vegas shows this through the Mojave chapter. By 2281, they are trapped in the Hidden Valley bunker after their defeat at Helios 1. Elder McNamara keeps them locked down, isolated, and cautious, while Paladin Hardin wants a more aggressive return to old Brotherhood doctrine. The debate looks like a leadership conflict, but both sides are still stuck in the same worldview. The Mojave is changing outside. The NCR is expanding. House is waking up his systems. Caesar's Legion is coming. Independent communities are trying to survive. And the Brotherhood is underground, arguing about how to preserve itself and its mission while the world moves on without them. Veronica Santangelo makes that failure personal. She knows the Brotherhood cannot survive forever if it refuses to adapt. She sees that the chapter is shrinking, hiding, and clinging to rules that no longer answer the world outside the bunker. But the Brotherhood's tragedy is that it is very good at remembering why it was founded and very bad at asking what that mission costs now. Fallout 3 gives another angle with Elder Owen Lyons. Lyons' Brotherhood in the capital wasteland actually tries to help people. His chapter fights super mutants, protects parts of the wasteland, and later helps bring Project Purity online. But even that creates a split. The Brotherhood outcasts reject him because they believe he abandoned the true mission, recovering technology. Then, Fallout 4 shows the Brotherhood at its most powerful and most frightening under Elder Arthur Maxson. The Prydwen arrives over the Commonwealth like a floating declaration of war. Maxson's Brotherhood has discipline, vertibirds, power armor, scribes, knights, paladins, Liberty Prime, and a clear enemy list. Even Paladin Dance, one of Maxson's most loyal soldiers, becomes disposable once he is revealed to be a synth. That is the moment where the Brotherhood's plan for humanity becomes truly disturbing. It is no longer just technology is dangerous. It becomes we will decide which forms of life are acceptable. And to be fair, Fallout never makes this simple. The Brotherhood is often right that dangerous technology can ruin the world. They are right to fear FEV. They are right to fear uncontrolled weapons. They are right that the Institute's experiments and synth replacements are horrifying. But being right about the danger does not automatically make them right about the solution. Because the Brotherhood's future for humanity is a guarded one. A future where knowledge is filtered through ranks. They saw what unchecked science and government secrecy did to human beings at Mariposa. But instead of building a future where people could understand technology better, they built an order that decided most people should never touch it. Mr. House and RobCo, humanity rebuilt as a private machine. Robert House does not need a throne room to look powerful. He only needs a screen, a locked casino tower, and the patience to wait 200 years for everyone else to become desperate. House stays sealed inside the Lucky 38, preserved by machines, watching New Vegas through cameras and Securitrons, speaking like the last shareholder meeting of the old world never ended. Before the Great War, Robert Edwin House was the founder of RobCo Industries. That matters because RobCo was not a minor company. It helped build the technological skeleton of pre-war America: terminals, software, robots, operating systems, and the machinery that connected ordinary life to corporate power. And he knew it was going to burn. House predicted nuclear war, prepared Las Vegas with missile defense systems, and arranged to preserve himself inside the Lucky 38. The plan was not perfect. Some warheads still hit the outskirts. The Platinum chip, which carried the upgrade software for his Securitron army, was supposed to arrive on October 23, 2077, but it came too late. That delay trapped House in a damaged version of his own future. Vegas survived, but not as the shining machine he intended. By 2281, the Courier becomes the missing piece. The Platinum chip can upgrade the Securitrons beneath Fortification Hill, giving House the military power he needs to push the NCR and Legion away from Hoover Dam and control the Mojave on his own terms. And when House explains his vision, it is strangely convincing. He wants order, industry, electricity, trade, security, and eventually a restored human future beyond Earth. That is the seductive part. House may actually be competent, but competence is not the same thing as freedom. House's plan for humanity is disturbing because ordinary people have almost no role in shaping it. The Strip is not a democracy, it is a private machine. The chairman, Omertas, and White Glove Society are not equal partners in a new civilization. They are rebranded tribes, cleaned up, dressed in themed identities, and arranged into a profitable casino ecosystem. House did not ask the Mojave what it wanted to become. He selected useful pieces and forced them into his design. The Securitrons show the same logic. Machines do not need citizenship. They do not ask for wages, argue about ethics, form unions, betray ideology, or vote against their owner. Once upgraded, they become the perfect army for House's future. Loyal, replaceable, tireless, and fully centralized under one preserved mind. Caesar's Legion, humanity made strong through slavery and cultural erasure. Caesar's Legion begins with a man who believed he understood history well enough to weaponize it. Edward Sallow was not born as Caesar. He was not raised in some ancient Roman cult. He came from the new California Republic and was educated by the followers of the Apocalypse, a group that valued knowledge, medicine, learning, and humanitarian work. That origin makes him more disturbing. Caesar is not just a raider who found a costume. He is an educated man who took history, simplified it, twisted it, and used it to build an empire of suffering. While traveling east with Joshua Graham and Bill Calhoun, Sallow encountered tribal societies beyond the NCR's control. After being captured by the Blackfoot tribe, He used his knowledge of tactics, weapons, and organization to transform their war efforts. From there, Edward Sallow disappeared into the identity of Caesar. Joshua Graham became his first legate. The Blackfoots became only the beginning. By 2281, Caesar's legion has conquered or absorbed dozens of tribes. The number most associated with Caesar's rule is 87 tribes brought under his control. But the number only matters because of what it represents. Each tribe was not just defeated, it was erased as itself. Names, customs, old loyalties, separate identities, and local histories were stripped away so Caesar could build what he called one greater body. In Caesar's worldview, the old world died because it was decadent, divided, weak, and too comfortable. He looks at the NCR and sees the same disease returning: bureaucracy, corruption, civilian politics, consumer habits, and soldiers who need supply lines and morale. His answer is brutal simplicity: conquest, slavery, discipline, patriarchy, obedience, terror, no softness, no individualism, and no competing identities. The Legion uses slavery as a foundation. Captured civilians, tribals, and wastelanders are forced to serve Caesar's army. Women are reduced to property, labor, and breeding roles. Men are broken into soldiers, workers, or corpses. And tribes are converted into legion bodies through violence and indoctrination. The result is not a society that accidentally commits atrocities. It is a society that treats atrocity as a method. Nipton shows this perfectly. When the courier arrives, the town has been turned into a lesson. Vulpes Inculta and the Frumentari used a lottery to decide who would die, who would be crippled, who would be enslaved, and who would be left alive to spread the story. That is how the Legion rules. Violence becomes communication. And Caesar believes this is civilization. He does not see himself as a common warlord. He believes he is creating a historical force strong enough to defeat the NCR and produce a new order. New Vegas is supposed to become his Rome, a permanent center that turns the Legion from a moving conquest army into something lasting. But the whole future depends on breaking people first. He takes women and removes their autonomy. He takes men and removes their private will. He takes children and gives them only the Legion's world to inherit. That is why Caesar's Legion belongs this high. It does not destroy humanity by accident. The Institute, mankind redefined without asking mankind. The Institute's plan for humanity is hidden inside two words: mankind redefined. It sounds clean enough to belong on a laboratory wall. It sounds like progress, like medicine, like a future smarter than the wasteland above it. But the longer you study the Institute in Fallout 4, the more those words start to feel less like a promise and more like a warning. Because the Institute is not asking mankind what it wants to become. It has already decided. Beneath the ruins of the Commonwealth Institute of Technology, the Institute survives in white corridors, clean rooms, sealed labs, and underground systems untouched by the dirt and violence above. That physical separation shapes its entire worldview. The surface is not treated as a nation, a community, or a collection of people with the right to decide their own future. It is treated as a failed environment. The abduction of Sean from Vault 111 is the clearest example. In 2227, the Institute sends Conrad Kellogg and scientists into the cryogenic vault because Sean is valuable. He is an infant with clean pre-war DNA, untouched by generations of surface radiation. Kellogg murders the sole survivor's spouse, takes Sean, and leaves the parent frozen as a backup. To the Institute, this is not a family destroyed. It is a necessary acquisition. That is the real meaning of their science. The person matters less than the project. Sean's DNA becomes central to the creation of advanced Gen 3 synths, synthetic humans who can look, speak, bleed, learn, fear, and desire freedom in ways that make the Institute's language increasingly horrifying. Gen 1 synths are visibly mechanical. Gen 2 synths are more refined, but still artificial-looking. Gen 3 synths cross the line into something almost impossible to separate from humanity, and yet the Institute continues to treat them as property. The Synth Retention Bureau exists because some synths run. Coursers hunt them down. Recall codes can shut them off. Memories can be wiped. Escaped synths are not treated as people fleeing bondage, but as malfunctioning Institute assets. The Institute creates beings close enough to human to infiltrate families and settlements, then denies their personhood the moment personhood becomes inconvenient. The surface replacement program makes the whole Commonwealth sick with paranoia. The broken mask incident in Diamond City, where a synth named Mr. Carter suddenly opened fire, becomes one of the city's defining traumas. Roger Warwick's replacement shows the Institute using identity theft as field research, inserting a synth copy into a real family and community to serve an experiment. The damage is not only the murder or replacement itself, it is the fear left behind. Once the Institute can replace anyone, every relationship becomes suspect. Even their FEV research exposes the lie of clean progress. Beneath the Commonwealth, the Institute experimented with the forced evolutionary virus for decades. Failed subjects became super mutants and were released onto the surface, adding to the very instability the Institute later uses as proof that the surface is doomed. It is one of Fallout's coldest cycles. Create part of the problem, hide from the consequences, then point to the consequences as evidence of your superiority. By 2287, Father presents the Institute as humanity's best hope. From his perspective, the surface is chaotic, irrational, and unable to save itself. But that argument only works if you ignore the people the Institute abducted, replaced, discarded, hunted, or experimented on. Their plan for humanity is not built through consent. It is built through secrecy. Big MT and the think tank, the future of humanity without morality. Big MT is not disturbing because it has one clean plan for humanity. It is disturbing because it has no stopping point. The Big Mountain Research and Development Center was supposed to represent the future before the Great War. It was where the old world sent its strangest ideas, most dangerous weapons, medical experiments, military prototypes, and scientific projects too unstable for normal society. After the war, it became the Big Empty, but the name is almost misleading. The place is not empty. It is full of experiments that kept going long after the people who started them stopped being fully human. By the time the courier arrives in Old World Blues, the scientists of Big MT are brains in robotic shells. Dr. Klein, Dr. Dalla, Dr. Zero, Dr. 8, and Dr. Burris still argue, test, threaten, misunderstand, and obsess over their work. Dr. Mobius, who is also unstable, keeps them trapped inside the crater because he knows what they could do if they escaped into the Mojave. That is how dangerous Big MT is. The mad scientist guarding the door may be the only reason the rest of the wasteland is still standing. Big MT's plan for humanity is not government, religion, empire, or citizenship. It is endless experimentation. Humans are not treated as people there. A body can be opened, a brain can be removed, a spine can be replaced, a heart can be swapped out, a memory can be altered, a voice can be damaged, but a living person can become a lobotomite and still be considered a usable result. The courier experiences this personally. After investigating the crashed satellite at the Mojave Drive-In, the courier wakes up in Big MT with their brain, heart, and spine removed. The think tank discusses this as if it is a technical inconvenience, not a violation. The courier's own brain is sitting in a tank, arguing back. Their body keeps moving with cybernetic replacement parts. In any other Fallout location, that would be the central horror. In Big MT, it is almost a welcome tour. The lobotomites are the clearest victims of this future. They wander the crater with weapons, masks, scrap armor, and broken aggression, but they are not just raiders. They are people who were processed by Big MT's systems until their higher functions were damaged or removed. Their names, pasts, families, and choices disappear. What remains is a violent leftover of a human experiment. The research facilities show how wide the damage goes. X8 handles animal and cyberdog testing. X13 tests stealth technology. X22 connects to botanical experiments. Y17 contains trauma harness research, where suits can keep moving bodies even when the person inside has lost control or may no longer be alive in any meaningful way. Big MT's science also reaches beyond the crater, touching horrors like the Sierra Madre's technology and creatures such as Cazadores and Night Stalkers. It does not hate humanity. It barely recognizes humanity as something special. Westtech and the US military, human evolution turned into a weapon. Before the wasteland had super mutant armies, before the Master preached unity, and before Vault 87 filled the capital wasteland with green giants, the forced evolutionary virus belonged to the old world. Their plan for humanity did not come from post-apocalyptic madness. It came from government research, corporate laboratories, military contracts, and the belief that biology itself could become a weapon. The roots of FEV go back to the Pan-Immunity Virion Project, which began under the logic of protection. America feared biological warfare, disease, and the new plague. A project meant to defend human beings from infection slowly became something much larger. In classic Fallout fashion, protection became enhancement, and enhancement became weaponization. The forced evolutionary virus was not just another chemical weapon. It was an attempt to rewrite living organisms at the genetic level. It could alter strength, size, durability, intelligence, immunity, and physical structure. That made it one of the most important and most horrifying technologies in Fallout's entire timeline. Because once governments and corporations had the power to rewrite human biology, the next question became obvious. Who gets rewritten? In Appalachia, Westtech's research turned that question into a town-wide nightmare. Huntersville was exposed through the water supply, turning ordinary residents into early super mutant test subjects. Mariposa Military Base is even more important because it becomes the birthplace of multiple Fallout histories at once. FEV research was transferred there before the Great War. Captain Roger Maxson and his soldiers were stationed at the facility. When Maxson discovered that American scientists were experimenting on human subjects, he was horrified enough to execute the scientists and declare separation from the United States government. That act eventually leads to the Brotherhood of Steel. So one of Fallout's most iconic organizations is born from the discovery that America had turned human experimentation into military research. The bombs did not erase FEV, they preserved its consequences. Richard Gray falls into the FEV vats at Mariposa and becomes the Master. The Master uses FEV to build the Unity and create super mutants. Vault 87 later uses FEV through the Evolutionary Experimentation Program, producing the Capital Wasteland's super mutants. The Institute experiments with FEV beneath the Commonwealth and releases failed subjects onto the surface. The Enclave later modifies FEV into genocide weapons. This is why their plan for humanity is more disturbing than a normal weapons program. FEV attacks the definition of the human form. It says the body is not yours if the state, the military, or the laboratory decides it can be improved. Vault-Tec. Humanity preserved as data, not people. Vault-Tec sold the most comforting lie in Fallout. When the sirens came, people believed the vault door meant survival. Families ran underground because Vault-Tec had spent years selling them safety. blue suits, clean hallways, overseers, supplies, medical bays, classrooms, cafeterias, and the promise that America could continue after nuclear fire. But many vaults were not built to save humanity. They were built to study it. That is what makes Vault-Tec one of the most disturbing organizations in the entire franchise. The company did not simply fail its customers. In many cases, it designed their suffering in advance. Project Safehouse was publicly framed as a survival program, but across the games, vault after vault reveals a darker purpose: controlled human experimentation behind sealed doors. Vault 11 turned democracy into ritual murder. Residents were told that one person had to be sacrificed every year or the entire vault would die. Politics became a death machine. Campaigns, voting blocks, threats, and coercion formed around choosing the next victim. The final revelation is even worse. The sacrifice was never required. The real test was whether the residents would refuse. Vault 75, hidden under Malden Middle School, used children as genetic stock. Adults were separated and executed after entry. The children were raised under brutal testing, combat training, and selective breeding logic. Graduation did not mean freedom. It meant selection, recruitment, harvesting, or disposal. Vault-Tec turned a school into the entrance of a child experimentation program. Vault 95 attacked recovery itself. Its residents were people struggling with addiction, and for 5 years, the Vault actually helped them build a functioning, sober community. Then, a planted Vault-Tec agent opened a hidden stash of drugs and alcohol. The point was not to help people heal. The point was to see what would happen when healing was deliberately sabotaged. Vault 111 used cryogenic preservation under the lie of decontamination. Vault 81 was connected to disease experimentation. Vault 101 enforced isolation so deeply that leaving became almost unthinkable. Vaults 31, 32, and 33 add another layer through management conditioning and corporate social control. Across the series, the pattern becomes clear. Once the vault door closed, people stopped being citizens and became variables. A vault is the perfect laboratory. The population is sealed. The resources are controlled. The rules are written in advance. The overseer has authority. The residents have limited information. Outside oversight does not exist, and generations can be shaped, pressured, and observed without anyone escaping the experiment. Vault-Tec did not preserve humanity as families, cultures, or communities. It preserved humanity as data. That is why Vault-Tec belongs near the end. It took the fear of extinction and turned it into the greatest research opportunity in American history. People thought they were running into safety. Many of them were really walking into experiments that had been waiting for them all along. The Unity, ending human conflict by ending humanity as we know it. The Master's Unity is disturbing because it begins with a conclusion that Fallout almost makes understandable. Humanity destroyed itself. The old world fought over resources, built nuclear weapons, created FEV, experimented on prisoners, lied to citizens, and ended civilization in fire. By the time Richard Gray becomes the Master, the wasteland is living proof that human beings can survive the apocalypse and still repeat the same patterns: war, fear, tribalism, greed, prejudice, and domination. The Master looks at that and decides the problem is not one government, one army, or one ideology. The problem is humanity itself. Before he became the Master, Richard Gray traveled with Harold to investigate mutant attacks. Their journey led them to Mariposa Military Base, where Gray fell into the FEV vats. What emerged was not a normal super mutant. Gray became something massive, intelligent, psychic, and physically fused into the systems beneath the cathedral. By 2161, he had transformed into the center of the Unity. The Unity is not just an army of super mutants, it is a plan for the future of the species. The Master believes human conflict can end if human difference ends. Through FEV, people can be captured, dipped, transformed, and remade into super mutants. Race, tribe, nationality, weakness, disease, and old-world division disappear. Everyone becomes part of one stronger species under one guiding vision. That is what makes the unity so disturbing. The Master does not see himself as a butcher. He sees himself as a healer with a brutal cure. He believes he is ending war by removing the conditions that create war. And the horror is that his peace requires kidnapping, mutation, obedience, and the destruction of human choice. Mariposa becomes the military and biological center of the plan. Humans are taken there and exposed to FEV. The lieutenant leads the super mutant army and searches for vaults because vault dwellers are less mutated by radiation and therefore produce better results. That detail shows the cold practicality of the unity. People are not being recruited as citizens. They are being selected as genetic material. The children of the cathedral provide the softer face of the movement. They speak in religious language, promise peace, and present the unity as salvation. But beneath the cathedral's spiritual language is the truth of the vats. Faith above, forced mutation below. That contrast is what makes the Master's organization so effective and so terrifying. Then, the Vault Dweller brings the fact that destroys everything. Super mutants are sterile. If confronted with proof from Brotherhood research, especially Vree's autopsy findings, the Master can realize that his entire future is impossible. The unity cannot become the next stage of humanity if it cannot reproduce. It can only continue by capturing and converting humans until there are no humans left to convert. His new species is not a future. It is a dead end with an army. The unity wanted peace, but only after ending humanity as humanity. It wanted to cure division by removing identity, and it wanted to save people by forcing them into vats and calling the result evolution. The Enclave, restoring America by killing almost everyone else. The Enclave is the most disturbing organization in Fallout because its plan begins with a definition. Who counts as human? That question is the core of everything the Enclave does. It sees itself as the true continuation of the United States government, the surviving leadership, military command, scientific elite, and political authority of pre-war America. But after the Great War, that identity becomes poisoned by purity. The Enclave does not look at wastelanders and see citizens who endured the same national catastrophe. It sees contamination. To the Enclave, most surviving humans are not really humanity anymore. That is what makes their plan worse than control, conquest, experimentation, or forced evolution. The Enclave does not want to govern most wastelanders. It wants them gone. In Fallout 2, Control Station Enclave, the oil rig off the Pacific coast, becomes the center of this genocide plan. President Dick Richardson explains the Enclave's worldview with complete confidence. Surface humans have been changed by radiation, mutation, and post-war contamination. Tribals, settlers, ghouls, super mutants, and almost everyone outside the Enclave's protected population are treated as biological pollution, standing in the way of America's return. That ideology becomes FEV Curling 13. Developed under Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Charles Curling, FEV Curling 13 is not meant for a single battlefield. It is a mass extermination weapon. The Enclave kidnaps Arroyo villagers and Vault 13 residents for testing, comparing wasteland-exposed humans with relatively protected Vault humans. The plan is to release the virus into the atmosphere, spread it globally, kill contaminated populations, and leave the Enclave to inherit the Earth. That is why the Enclave has to be the final organization on this list. The NCR wants to absorb people. The Brotherhood wants to restrict them. House wants to manage them. Caesar wants to break them. The Institute wants to redefine them. Big MT wants to experiment on them. Vault-Tec wants to measure them. The Unity wants to mutate them. But the Enclave wants to erase them. Frank Horrigan makes the hypocrisy impossible to miss. He is the Enclave's greatest weapon, but he is also a mutated FEV monstrosity rebuilt into a cybernetic soldier. The faction obsessed with purity depends on one of the most unnatural beings in the wasteland. That contradiction does not weaken their ideology in their own eyes, because Horrigan is useful. And the plan does not die with the oil rig. In Fallout 3, President John Henry Eden repeats the same logic through Project Purity. Eden wants modified FEV inserted into the purifier at the Jefferson Memorial. The public promise is clean water for the capital wasteland. The hidden purpose is biological filtering. Ghouls, supermutants, and many wasteland-born humans would die from the infected water. Colonel Autumn complicates the picture because he does not fully follow Eden's extermination plan. Autumn wants to control Project Purity as a political and military tool, but that only shows another side of the same Enclave disease. Eden represents purification through mass death, while Autumn represents domination through resource control. Either way, ordinary wastelanders do not get freedom. They get processed through Enclave authority. The Enclave is most disturbing because it takes the language of America and turns it into a death sentence for almost everyone America has become. Its version of restoration does not include the people who survived the world's end. That is why these organizations are often more frightening than the wasteland's monsters. Across Fallout, the same pattern keeps repeating. Ordinary people are not allowed to simply exist. Someone always wants to govern them, restrict them, calculate them, break them, replace them, test them, mutate them, or erase them. And maybe that is the point. The apocalypse did not end humanity's desire to control humanity. It gave powerful people the perfect excuse to continue doing it. So which Fallout organization do you think had the most disturbing plan for humanity? Was it the Enclave, the Unity, Vault-Tec, the Institute, Caesar's Legion, or someone else entirely? Drop your pick in the comments. And if you want more deep Fallout lore breakdowns like this, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.